got it. It's so much more hard during the day.
Yeah, isn't that weird? You think it'd be trickier.
I think it would be fine. It's easy to light at night. Just turn on the lights, boom, you're good. During the day, it's like, all right, well, let's back into this space. We got the wall behind us. That'll block out the sun. We can use the clouds up there to light us. We just saw a Looney Tunes movie, so it's good we're by the railroad tracks.
Yes. I'm starting to look at a tunnel a little differently. I think someone painted that.
Yeah. Oh, man. So full disclosure, like, I've probably been awake for about 36 hours. And I've been...
No, you did not hallucinate this.
Yeah, or rewatching Cats earlier, too.
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure either movie happened. It could just be this big fever dream I'm having. And yet I still loved Cats the second time. So I've been awake for a long time on some meds, and the last Space Jam related thing that I watched was that horrible Teen Titans Go See Space Jam.
Are you sure it was horrible? Maybe you just weren't awake enough for it. Maybe the jokes were really good. You were just too tired to get them all. It went right over your head.
A little too good. That's why I'm on medication. It's not because of the donut burger at all. It's because of that Teen Titans thing. So all that stuff, and so, you know, maybe you could chalk up being tired or what, or some of the bad things I've recently watched, but I did really like this movie.
This movie's, like, cringe-tastic.
It is.
But I love the hell out of it.
Yeah, I know. I had a good time, man.
Okay, so we should say, too, what'd you think of the first Space Jam?
I think that the first one is, I don't love it, but I don't have any hatred for it or anything like that. I absolutely 100% get its appeal, especially if you grew up with that movie or if you were a certain age when it came out. Watching it now, and I've said this I said that in the Teen Titans one the other day, where it's like, now it does have some charm to it, certainly as a time capsule of 1996.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. When I was younger and it came out, I was so pissed because I'm like, oh my god, Michael Jordan, the Looney Tunes is gonna be amazing, and then it's like, oh, it's just a giant commercial, pretty much, you know, of that era and everything and all. But yeah, years later, that's part of the fun. It is clearly a commercial. The cliches are such 1996 cliches.
They are.
It's the most 1996 thing ever, and it's kind of endearing because of it, but yeah, I can't say it's good.
Both of them are like inspired by, like, if your favorite Looney Tunes cartoon was the Warner Brothers catalog ad in front of the Batman VHS, then that is the natural progression to Space Jam.
Yeah.
A new Warner Brothers catalog.
Man, how many times do we even say Warner Brothers in this movie? It's like a million times, man.
Yeah. Use it to order your Warner Brothers ball cap. So this movie, yeah, the movie's very pandering. It's definitely a commercial. Of course it is. I don't know why someone wouldn't think that going into Space Jam 2. So it's like, I know what I'm getting into with this. I know how pandering it's going to be. I know all the stuff that it's going to be advertising. It's a sequel to Space Jam. Why wouldn't it be any of those things? But it's like, does it do it well enough? Is it entertaining? The movie really is. Like, it's even really kind of entertaining most of the time, even when it's not working.
Yeah, no, this is really a movie where if you were to ask me how many laughs did I have that were probably intentional?
Yeah.
I'd say maybe like a little less than half, you know. I say a little less than half. I was like, okay, I am laughing for the exact reason the movie wanted me to laugh at that.
Yeah.
How many were unintentional, or I was laughing at it because it was just so awkward and uncomfortable and weird and odd? Yeah, it's like the rest of the movie. But, I mean, it's still, like you said, it's entertaining. It embraces its silliness. It really does embrace the fact that it's a giant commercial.
It does.
And everyone's performance in this, especially from the live action people, they're off in just the right way to really make me laugh and have fun with it.
Yeah, because LeBron James is a better actor than Michael Jordan, but I don't want to say much better.
No, so this is weird. So
he's good in Trainwreck.
Yeah, so I remember seeing him in Trainwreck, and he was really funny. He had the timing down, the delivery was good, the facial expressions. So the last thing I would think is that he would be awkward with the Looney Tunes, or even just acting like a human being. And he is so... His reaction in this, the whole time, it looks like he's constipated and he doesn't know why.
But there was a couple of lines in it that were so awkward and not good, but in a way where I was sitting there going, this feels like it's kind of aware of this.
That's kind of what I'm wondering too.
And doing it kind of winking at the camera, or at least embracing what it is. There's a part near the beginning of the movie where LeBron James is trying to play basketball with his son, and his wife comes out and says, "It's SpaghettiOs night." And then LeBron James, it is just a close-up of him where the scene ends where he goes, "Wow, that's my favorite." And it was the delivery wasn't good. It's a bad line, but in a way where I was sitting there going, this feels like it's kind of embracing.
Yeah, kind of like a school play a little bit. Like when a kid will just say something so off and weird, but it's already a line that's not that great because it's a school play, but everyone kind of laughs and the kid laughs that you're laughing, and it's like, all right, we're all having fun.
It's sort of like it knows that you're going to get this kind of line and delivery from a movie starring an athlete.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There was something, I'm not sure, but there was something very kind of winking about it. But when it was genuinely funny beyond a line being kind of bad, or maybe it being ironic and not really sure, when it was genuinely funny, it was clever. And going into it, after seeing a couple of clips that were released, I was like, oh man, I don't know about this. But then when I saw that the embargo is lifted on Wednesday and not the day of release, I was like, well, maybe it'll be all right.
Yeah.
So it is true that at least one of those clips they released for me is the worst scene in the movie. Mm-hmm. You probably know which one it is. It's the Porky Pig rapping part, which when you see it if you saw that clip and you were like, maybe there's more context to it or something. No, that could have been lifted right out of the movie.
You know, like out of nowhere, someone just says something that's rhyme and it's like, oh, we rapping?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
It had nothing to do with anything. The rest of it was like, yeah, it's pandering, but of course, it's Space Jam 2. That was like the movie stops dead.
Yeah.
To be high tops for 5 minutes. And you could lose that whole scene and not be confused.
The Granny and Speedy scene was kind of similar too. That's another with the Matrix that was released online. That was maybe a little better because I do like, again, just like the awkwardness of the film when LeBron James comes in the suit, the shades, hey Granny, and then nothing else.
So that at least, like that Matrix thing, it's like, yeah, I didn't really sit there and laugh when that part was on, but at least that, when you see the whole movie, it's part of a bigger montage of things going on.
And the other scenes are funnier.
Yeah, and there are parts of that work, especially Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner being in Fury
Oh my
Road.
God. Oh, you heard me. I was like laughing the longest at that.
Too.
Yeah, oh God, I had to like
that was
stop
funny.
myself.
Some of it was random, like Foghorn Leghorn being Daenerys.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
No, some of it was random, but others worked. And the Matrix thing was just part of that. It's part of a larger sequence where some stuff works and some doesn't. The rapping thing, no, that did not need to be in the movie. Maybe it's some weird thing they're doing to like, let's take the worst scene. That way, like when you go see it, you'll be really surprised by the clever stuff.
Maybe, yeah.
Because there's genuinely clever stuff in this. When LeBron James goes to Looney Tunes world and Bugs Bunny is insane. And I mean in a way where he's the only one living in his land now because the rest of them have left, and he's basically like gone stir crazy and is like the Omega Man, where
he gets drunk on carrot juice, which Bugs Bunny drunk is really funny.
Yeah.
I also love too that it makes sense that the Looney Tunes would leave him.
Yeah.
They are kind of backstabby and want to do other stuff, and they're all really selfish and everything.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, it's like, yeah, that checks out. That makes sense.
Yeah, and Bugs Bunny is like crazy making like Porky Pig out of pumpkins, so he has someone to talk to, like mannequins and the Omega Man and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is like getting like weirdly deep like in a movie like I wasn't expecting.
It also makes sense that he would stay there too. He's like the purest Looney Tune, so he would stay behind. I like too when LeBron James goes in, it's like population 1, it goes up to 2.
Yeah. And the animation, the 2D animation I thought was really good. I liked it better than the 2D animation in the first Space Jam. It's less, the 2D animation is less airbrush looking in this, and I like that. I liked the look of it better.
No, you know why? And I think the reason for that was in the first one, they're trying to do like Roger Rabbit, where it really looks like they're in the room with him. With this, they're in that cartoon land most of the time. There's very few times where they have to interact with live action people because they make them CG.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I can't choose which one I like better in terms of the animation because this kind of apples and
This
oranges.
one with the animation, I did, and I thought a lot of the Looney Tunes gags, like with a lot of the classic gags that they do in this, I thought I had a lot more laugh out loud moments in this than the other one. Who knows how this will be viewed in 20 years like the first one, but I'll say like with a lot of the Looney Tunes gags in this, I was laughing hysterically through a lot of it, especially that, oh my god, that Superman part where on that bullet on that monorail.
Yeah, where Daffy is. Well, and I like the idea that they're all trying to be these different characters in different worlds. I like that's funny and it fits. Like, so Daffy Duck is Superman in the animated Superman, or like the animated series world, which is already great. But then he's the one causing the crime so he can save the day, which is so funny.
And the monorail is aimed at an orphanage. Like, it ends at the window of an orphanage where kids are playing. It's funny. That was reminiscent to me of less this stuff they're doing like, oh, suddenly they're in the Matrix, and more like in the older ones where you'd see like, oh, now Daffy's Robin Hood, or
he was Super Duck in one of the episodes.
Super Duck, or now he's Charlie Chan or something like that. Like, to me, that was reminding me more of that kind of Looney Tunes where they're inserting themselves into different properties and characters. And I got a lot of good laughs out of that. When they turned to 3D animation, I got used to it pretty quick.
Yeah, no, I actually, because that's a very clever workaround, because 3D animation I think is faster because you make the model and then you just move it. They look good. I mean, when I say, oh, it looks like they're really there, well, I don't know about that, but I don't know if it's supposed to exactly look like that. But they still have the expressions. It's neat to see. Honestly. I mean, I'm trying to think like, have I ever seen like a 3D Looney Tune? I think they did like these old shorts they would show sometimes before movies. They would do like these 3D ones where they look kind of realistic, but that was about it. So the idea of having a good half of a movie where they're like that, and then a half where they are hand-drawn, which is nice. I like they really did give that its, time in the sun too, was pretty cool. And I'll say too, a good example of whether or not maybe you'll like this movie or you won't is all the background characters in this the whole time. Like, my favorite particularly was this guy playing Arnold Mr. Freeze, because he was behind Don Cheadle most of the time, and the whole time he's just and that's how they're all acting throughout the whole film. It doesn't even matter. It almost doesn't even matter who the character is. Like, they had Danny DeVito Penguin, and they're going,
it's like they're all looking at something different. They're reacting to things differently that's going on. So I didn't mind that.
No, but I'm saying that was part of the fun. Is that there's that constant energy, and they're just throwing their all into it, even if they have no idea if it's working or not. We're like, we're just doing it.
And I've seen people complain about that, where it's like, oh, what is this, like Ready Player One or something? And like, okay, yeah, sure, but also, honestly, it does seem like a natural progression from the audience in the first film, where the first film, it's all the obscure Looney Tunes characters in the stands, and in that, it was fun to look for all the different characters that are in there. In this, it's amped up to being a lot of Warner Brothers property characters, and again, I was having fun keeping my eye on the background.
I was too, and it was not quite to a point where it was distracting.
No.
And sometimes they did work their way into the joke. I think that's the difference between something like this and Ready Player One. Not that this is like you know, man, they cracked the code. It's not like this grand epic thing or anything,
Sure.
but it was still the personalities of these characters, or you saw them react how they want to. They weren't avatars for anything. Like, there's a scene, honestly, the biggest laugh, at least because Walter was there, and it was the biggest laugh for him, is Don Cheadle at one point says, you know, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. And you know it's going to cut to King Kong. But you're like, what's it going to do? Is it going to roar? Or is he going to hit him? Or is he going to do something? Just go, this giant monkey there just goes,
Yeah.
and that's super funny. Like, that's really, really funny.
Now, when Don Cheadle turned 3D, that was a little unnerving.
Well, if you're gonna do that, yeah, that was weird, because
it looked weird.
No, so, okay, the bad guys in this world, first, I think it's a mix of, like, weird animals, but then, like, I think actual basketball players. I think that they sure acted like actual basketball players. They're on the same level of acting as LeBron James.
Right.
Like, hey, let me see them, man. What you up to? It's like you're here for the name, it looks like. Even though I don't watch much basketball, so I don't know.
Neither do I. I mean, speaking of names, though, when it has a Michael Jordan reference in the movie, I won't say exactly where it goes. I did get a laugh, but halfway through that setup, I knew where it was going.
Yeah, they wait a little too long for it, but it was still pretty funny.
It was funny. It was a funny gag.
But like, so you got the... Even if they weren't celebrities who were like the players or whatever, which I'm pretty sure they are. Again, I'm not a sports guy, especially now. But the combining it with like a snake or a spider or water or a robot, that's really cool. But then like Don Cheadle at the end, he's like, oh, okay, and now it's like the final boss. Like, here we go. He just makes like a bigger CG version of himself. And it's like, how boring. Give him robot eyes or shark fins or something. Have fun. Everything else was going so over
Turn
the top
into
and silly.
evil Judge Doom, at least.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I agree. That was kind of lame. But I do also like, again, I feel like for the most part it is giving a lot of the people who want to see this movie what they're looking for, especially the kids, because literally it's played in a video game. Like, it's a game that the kid creates, LeBron James kid creates.
The villain's name is Algae Rhythm.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, on top of that, the algorithm's the bad guy, so we really relate.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But, yeah, and you can go to all these different Warner Brother worlds, which is like, next to Disney, Warner Brothers is like my favorite studio. I love Warner Brothers. So I really didn't mind seeing all these characters come in and have fun and stuff.
No.
And again, it felt different from Ready Player One, because it really is the characters and they act like the characters for the most part.
And I like too that Gossamer is one of them on the team.
Yeah,
through
I
like
love
the
that
whole
too.
movie. I'm like, well, that's really cool. They're really giving him like his time to shine on the team.
And you know, they only did that for one joke with the water player and stuff, but it's one of those things that's like, you know, that's playing the long game. I respect that. I respect that. And it was a good joke.
It gave Gossamer some love. That was cool. Maybe if they do a third one, we can get the abominable snowman.
Yeah. I'll grab the players and love them and test them.
Spanking LeBron James and his head's going out.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? That's like his whole performance is that just, what? What's going on?
Mm-hmm. I did like that he's more of a dick than Michael Jordan. Like, he does feel different
Yeah, honestly,
than Michael
the
Jordan.
opening of this, I was kind of like, LeBron James is kind of an asshole.
I know. I was like, I like that he's this flawed dad who's kind of a dick. Like,
yeah,
I like that. That was different.
It was off-brand, especially. I was kind of like, I mean, it's not abusive or anything, but it is one of those things where it's like, God, the second you see him, it's like, he's not likable.
Yeah. And I thought that the first one was a tighter movie. This
could have had like 10, 15 minutes cut out.
And you can see where those moments are, because this movie's 2 hours, and it kind of felt like I was watching an extend cut of a tighter 90-minute
I mean,
movie.
clearly you don't cut the rap, but there's obviously...
Hey, you've got to keep, otherwise none of it makes sense. But there's other things, like, I would be having a really good time with all the 2D stuff, and then it'll frequently cut to, like, LeBron's wife and family looking for them at the Warner backlot, and I'm like, you could have summed this all up in one scene. And
I did like the security guard moment. Again, and that's just a guy who's like, I don't know if he was like purposefully being awkward or whatever, but he was funny. He was really funny.
Yeah, I mean,
you know where I started to get bored? When they And I was kind of shocked when they start playing the game. I think when they were losing, because you already know the lesson they're going to learn, because LeBron James is like, you can't be loony, you got to just play the game and follow the rules and stuff. And it's like, I wonder what the lesson's going to be. Come on. So when they're losing, that was a little boring.
When they were losing, I was sitting there going, geez, I'm actually sitting here wondering how they're going to bounce back from this. how's the game going to do it this time? So I was still entertained by it. I thought that the basketball action flowed together better in this than in the first one. With the first one, it was like, it kind of feels like it's just a string of random basketball shots edited together to make this game. Whereas this, I was following the flow of it a lot more.
Well, and the rules are fun. And combining it with a video game, combining that the points are not just based on making the basket, it's how, like, stylized you can do it. And it's like, okay, like, that's fun. I feel like it's taking this idea of the first film, which, I mean, again, I get people who love it and everything, but it's an awkward, weird little movie, and upping everything, the awkwardness, the weirdness, but the creativity as well. Yeah,
and with the video game, that was another thing where I was like, there's about 5 times it's cutting back to Don Cheadle and LeBron's kid. That was another time where I was like, you probably could have done this in 1 or 2 scenes as opposed to 3 to get this down from 2 hours.
Yeah, but we wouldn't be emotionally affected by it. We wouldn't be as invested in it.
I wouldn't have bawled my eyes out at the end of this film.
Yeah, no.
Actually, there are a couple of moments that kind of tug at your heart a little towards the end of the movie.
You think of the, like, are you thinking of the one I'm thinking of with Bugs? Is that what you're?
I was sitting there.
Oh my god!
I was sitting there going like, oh man. No, Johnny Five. No.
That was the moment where I'm like, I mean, it's like, I'm glad it plays out the way it plays out, but I remember telling Walter, they're really gonna go through.
Well, no, I didn't think they were gonna do that. But I was sitting there going, wow, there really is some heart to this movie with these characters, and they actually are getting sort of deep with them a couple of times, especially when he's just alone on his Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the stuff with Bugs, and it does with how it ends. It does kind of come full circle a little bit. Yeah, which I do like. But never quite to a point where it's like it's quote unquote too dramatic.
Oh no, it's never
anything
that.
Where it's like, you know, wow, are we really supposed to feel something here?
Except in the opening scene with the first shot in the movie, I was sitting there going, why is this gritty looking? I was like, why does this look like He Got Game? I know Spike Lee's cousin directed it.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Malcolm D. Lee, yeah. And I liked that. This kind of took me back, like, when the young LeBron starts playing, Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castles. And yeah, it's 1998 and he's wowed by a Game Boy. And so he's got the Game Boy and he's like wowed and then starts playing Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle. And I'm sitting there going, well, that game's kind of lame. But I remember being that age and younger and loving Looney Tunes so much that I didn't care that game was lame. I
think that's what they're good. Even when he sees Bugs, he's like, Bugs, oh, I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, it works just enough for that. But
Birthday Blowout I liked a lot.
But, yeah, I mean, we should definitely make it clear, even though I do like it. And
I did like it too.
I did. It's not a movie where you can say, no, like, the acting's legit good and all the timing really works and the ideas, like, they really thought out the details and stuff. It's like, no, it's ridiculous. Everybody acts odd and off, but it's in such an entertaining way that when they do actually get the legit laughs and good moments and creative moments and stuff, it's like, well, it's just the icing on the cake then.
Yeah, it was kind of like Uncle Drew in that regard, another movie I went to with low expectations, where both work because I liked them surprisingly better than I thought I did, but also they kind of went for it and they unapologetically knew what kind of movie that they were making, so there were some surprisingly clever moments in them. And by the end of it, yeah, I thought the movie was about 30 minutes too long, but I did have a good time. And for being awake as long as I've been awake, I wasn't ever really feeling tired during this.
There weren't many moments where I felt like, you know, like you said, like too bored. But like I said, there's just 1 or 2, and they don't last long. Like something else will come up pretty quickly to be entertaining again.
When the door for the spaceship also had rockets on it. There would be little things like that would get a laugh on me. Just a quick gag, like the door of Marvin the Martian's spaceship also has rockets on it and launches up. And that water guy passing through Lola Bunny in the one shot. It's something that happens in the background. I'm like, little things, like there's good background gags.
Yeah.
There would be a lot of stuff you could probably pick up on watching it again.
Again, just watching the crowd of Warner Bros. Characters, just watching those actors all just I could watch them on a loop because they're all just so into it. Just even if nothing's going on, they're like, wow,
Alex and the Droogs are having a good time.
Yeah. But that's it too. They're still kind of doing it in character too. Like, you know, the mask will be there like doing that with the doing the tie and everything and the teeth. So it's like they'll still be in character as well. And that just makes it so much fun. That's who that was.
Yeah.
Okay, I kept seeing that one girl. I'm like, who's that supposed to be? It was the bad scene.
It took me a second too. I'm like, that's the bad scene. All right.
That's really funny now.
Yeah. What grade would you give this one?
Man, that's rough, because it's like, as a movie, like, I should give it like a D or something, because it makes no sense. The acting's not that great and so forth. But like, as an entertaining experience, I give it an A+. So I don't know. I guess C+.
Sure. Well, if they did Teen Titans Go See Space Jam 2, that'd be a D. The movie definitely, it certainly has its problems, but it was a lot better than I thought it would be. It would be. I was very entertained by it. I got really good laughs, and even the stuff about it that was awkward, there was just something about it where I was going, it feels like they're well aware of the kind of movie they're making and how these lines are kind of coming across. So I was sort of giving it a pass on that, because I was still getting a laugh, ironic or not. Like, I was still getting a laugh out of some of that, mixed in with genuine ones. So I do recommend it. I'd give it a B. If it was shorter, I'd probably even go higher. But yeah, I'll give it a B, and a good B too. I think kids will have a good time with this.
I think kids will
Parents
definitely
will too.
like this movie. I think kids will really, really like this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was a nice surprise. It was worth staying up this long for. All right. Well, coming up is Escape Room 2. Maybe that'll be a nice surprise. Take care.
Later.